Okay, so thank you for coming to our presentation tonight. I'm doing this with Coach Mal and Coach Magda. And this is a question that people ask us a lot, or it's a statement that they say frequently, and that is, oh my God, I've effed up my metabolism. So this session tonight, we want to talk about how you do that and then how you fix it. So this isn't about shame. This is strictly about science so that you can have the tools and understand and really calm your inner voice when your coach says, I need you to show up and eat. Okay.
Eating is not the enemy, ladies. That is how you unfuck your metabolism.
Yeah. So people often think that metabolism is just about weight loss, and it's not. It's, about how fast you digest your food, how fast you gain or lose weight. And in the grand scheme of things, your metabolism is a much bigger and deeper and complex issue. And I'll just do this little brief introduction, and then I'm going to obviously want Mal and Magda to jump in because this is not the Debra show. So just so like just take a step back. So what does your metabolism actually do? Well, it's the sum of all the chemical reactions that are going on in your body all day, every second. So it's your hormones, it's how your cells use energy, it's how your body communicates with your hormones, it's how your organs function, how you maintain your body temperature. Are you burning calories, the energy that you're bringing in? How fast are you doing that at rest, during sleep, during your exercise? How efficiently does your body produce energy in your little powerhouse cells called mitochondria there's gazillions of them in your entire body. It really is, if you want to think of it, it's your operating system. And when one thing is out of whack and it's not all aligned properly, whether it's an organ problem like your thyroid, whether it's a lack of muscle mass, which is your most precious metabolically active tissue on your body, then your metabolism, and again, let's take away, it's not about just losing weight or gaining weight, is affected. So if you start to think like, oh my gosh, my metabolism is my hormones communicating to my body, telling it what to do, what not to do. It's my cells that are using energy. It's your brain. So let's take that word metabolism and make it very broad. I mean, we could get so deep into each and every one of these. We could do hours of presentations, but I think for our general knowledge sake, it's just really good that if you take this away from your digestion and just think about, oh, I'm burning calories as my metabolism, and think broader of all the things that will affect that action, you might have an easier time with accepting how you need to eat or how you need to train. There's four major parts. Um, the first one is your basal metabolic rate, or how much energy you are burning at rest, doing nothing. Like I literally tell clients, like, you're like this, doing nothing,
Not eating, not going to the bathroom, not scrolling on your phone in bed. Like, think hospital comatose state.
breathing. That's all you do is breathe. Okay. You're not even getting up out of your bed. The minute you get up out of your bed, oh, things are starting to happen. So this is just you're resting, doing absolutely nothing. Your second one is your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. I think we all know the person that is very, very lean and fidgety. You know, those people that are just always moving and they're always doing, and they're, you're like, oh my God, you must like burn so much energy. Yeah, they do. They're fidgeting. But it's also when you're standing, when you're walking, when you're doing your chores. Um,
Parking farther away when you're at stores and walking that instead of waiting to get the closest one. I was at Costco today, and oh my God, the number of people that are fighting for close parking spots, just
I
park
know.
further away. It increases your NEAT.
Exactly. And so again, This one has the most variable and easiest one to manipulate out of all of them. You can't, it's not as easy to manipulate your basal metabolic rate, but this one you can because you can control how much you walk, stand, how many chores, how much you fidget, how much you talk. It's probably why I was a skinny kid because I talked a lot. um, Number three, your thermic effect of food. Your body digests food that is burning calories through the digestion process. And if you look at protein, protein has the highest TEF because it costs the body a lot of energy to break it down and into its little finest, smallest parts and then assimilate it. It's so think of it this way. You've got all this great protein. Your body is working so hard to break it down and you're one of these people that doesn't eat carbs. And so your body goes, shit, I got to take this much protein now. I got to turn it into glucose because I got to keep that brain going. But now that I'm doing that and I can't repair the great muscle that this person is trying, I think we're just going to slow everything down because I don't have enough protein to do all the muscle repair, the muscle building, repair organs, build more cells. And so protein has an enormous job in your body. And so when people say, I can't eat all that protein, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
And maybe
And
after tonight, you'll want to.
two things. Pork, out of all the proteins, pork has the highest thermic effect of food of all the proteins. So if you can tolerate pork, pork tenderloin, pork chops, it's also one of the cheaper meat options out there. Pork is a really good one. And then the other thing is be mindful with the amount of protein powders and protein supplementations that you are consuming because those do not have the highest amount. They're not going to burn as many calories. And this goes for pretty much all processed foods. Processed foods go through processing where things are broken down and your body doesn't have to burn as many calories to be able to unfold it into their smallest forms to be digested. So whole foods are king.
So, and really imprint this last statement that this is not metabolism. This is just one very small part. And then your fourth one again is the NEAT, which I had shown before. So we already know that this part. Um, this is the smallest part for most people. Lifting weights helps with long-term increasing your basal metabolic rate through muscle gain. So when we're talking about exercise activity thermogenesis, not just non-exercise, that's what we're talking about is with building muscle. So is it just about digestion? No, it's not just about weight loss or weight gain. It's even more than just energy in, calories in versus calories out. You have to take into consideration your hormones, your muscle mass, your sleep, your stress, your inflammation levels, your consistency of your nutrition, because metabolism influences fat loss, but is not the thing that makes you actually gain. It affects, it influences it. So when you think about your metabolism, which we're going to talk, the other coaches are going to talk about how to increase it, how to fix it, then you are going to take it right back to this one little part of how it's going to affect your fat loss or how it affects your muscle gain. So I hope that just by the next slide, you realize now, like, oh, I always thought metabolism was just about like when people say, I have such a slow metabolism. I drew the worst card when my metabolism was beaming. Metabolism to this point is the sum of all the actions that you have been telling your body to do through your hormone regulation or dysregulation, through the muscle mass that you either have lost or gained, through your sleep, if you're not sleeping, again, through your stress levels. Are you managing your stress? Your inflammation levels. I had a client say to me yesterday, I have never felt this good. And I go, oh, that's great. I'm really, she goes, no, you don't understand. I was waking up in pain every day. We've been working together 3 weeks. I said, well, your inflammation levels have come down, and that is why you don't have the amount of pain. She goes, it's outstanding. But, when you go from eating garbage to eating good food, this is, this is something that you can control along with your movement. The consistency of your nutrition, guys, you eat a great breakfast and then you get too busy, or you use the excuse, I couldn't eat. Sorry, I was in a meeting, I couldn't eat for 6 hours. Okay, one day it's not a problem. But if this is your life, you need to figure this out, because this is going to be a stress on your body. It's going to affect your hormones. It's going to affect how you build muscle, and it's going to affect your inflammation levels. These things are all synergistic. They either work together or they're in the ring fighting each other. And we want them to work synergistically together. So that, I believe, is my last thing. So this is it. Um, in a nutshell, your metabolism is your adaptive survival system. And if you can say yes to one of these things, you are already giving the signal to downshift in your thyroid, to downshift the energy expenditure to do all the things that your body has to do. Are you a chronically undereater? Are you overstressed all the time? Do you undersleep, and do you undermove? Just remember that 1 hour at the gym is great. But if you should do a little test on yourself. Write down every hour of the day that you're awake, and right beside it, what am I doing in that hour? Oh, I'm working out at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning. Oh, but then from 6:30 to 8 o'clock, I'm in the car or on the subway. Then from 8 o'clock to 8:15, I'm walking into my office. Then from 8:15 to 9:15, I'm sitting. Then I'm sitting in another meeting. Then I'm sitting again. And start looking at all of that, and you think, okay, I'm number 5. I'm under moving. So um, that is where we get to now. So did you F up your metabolism? Okay, let's just see. And I will pass it over.
I think something too that I'm sure that, a lot of us have experienced as well, either in our own journey or some are on the complete opposite end, is, the cycle of yo-yo dieting, right? I think that's something that's common where people will cut carbs or cut, dramatic fat loss in a short period of time and not sustainable, gain the weight back, and then it feels like you're not as hungry anymore and your metabolism slows down, and then going through that cycle over time, similar to in what Deb mentioned. It's different things aside from just eating that impact that, how your body responds to those certain things. And I think one of the biggest things that I notice with all of the women that I've worked with is probably 90% of people undereat. So, does it mean that your metabolism will never be to a point where you can eat 3,000 calories? But from my own personal journey, because of what my history was, I know that I have a slower metabolism than, say, Magda, who had a different dieting history, right? So for me, I mean, I may have to do a little bit more cardio like Deb just because of our history. But my metabolism over time has dramatically improved. And I think similar to our bodies when we're working on our, our fitness journeys, it's a work in progress. So it's something that you can continue to improve in over time, little by little with consistency.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
always tell my clients like your metabolism is what you feed it over the course of time, right? So with me as a kid, I had plenty of food. My mom did diet cleanses, like I did like random like juice cleanses for like a month, and I'm like, hey, fuck this, it's not working. I like my food, right? So I was like always eating as a kid, and as a result, I guess my activity level supplemented with that, being in like dance, gymnastics, doing a whole lot of activity. So I was kind of like overeating, but it actually helped my metabolism in the long run because now I don't need to diet on low amounts of calories, right? But that doesn't mean it's going to be like that forever. Like, obviously, I know now more, but in regards to potentially your client progress, you can slowly increase the amount of food that you eat. As a result, you are going to fidget more. Like I'm just naturally a fidgeter anyways. Like I'm always moving with my hands, I'm always moving around. You may do the same. But in the gym, you'll also see your performance increase. And as a result, you'll be able to push more reps to failure. You'll be able to move more weight, right, around just because you have a surplus of food, right? So again, like it, it says on the slide, it can happen accidentally, but it can also happen on purpose, right? Like accidentally being like Deb was saying, like you're under eating because you don't quote unquote have time between meetings, right? So again, that's just something for you to observe and to learn yourself about as well.
Also, I don't know who's on the call right now, but if anybody grew up in the 80s as a teenager like I did,
Hmm.
we were taught to diet.
Hmm.
I was a junior national level gymnast and I dieted. I had weekly weigh-ins. My appendix burst. I lost 10 pounds. My coach said to me, "Oh my God, do not gain 1 pound. You're perfect now." So the dieting restrictive mindset, I wasn't anorexic. It was just you need to make do on this amount of food. They didn't have the knowledge, they didn't have the education, and they didn't pass it on to athletes. So what Magda makes a very good point. From her earliest years, she was always eating.
Yeah, and pair that
I
with like,
wasn't.
exercise because I was dancing like 6 to 7 hours, like 5 out of the 7 days a week,
I
right?
was training 32 hours a week as a gymnast.
Same.
It's a
But you know
lot.
what? During, it's funny, there's so many gymnasts here. I never, with where I trained, and I was a little bit after you, Deb, my coaches never weighed me in. So I was fine, but I ate,
No,
I
you're
always ate.
25 years. There's 25 years between.
Yeah, so
Like I
I
was
never
having my
had
first
that.
baby when you
Yeah.
were born.
Yeah. Yeah, so I never had that. Mine was just from, like trauma and using I needed something to control, and that became in my early 20s. That was what I could control, was my food, and under eating. And then yes, I've talked about this openly, about having an eating disorder and under eating, but at that time you don't think, oh, this is going to screw my metabolism up when I'm older. And then, as you educate yourself more, because I was always training, I was always working out, but it was the restriction, like the restriction that really impacted my metabolism. But again, I think the best way, and it's scary because I remember I was really scared to, which I know a lot of clients who are with us have been afraid to reverse diet, but I was really scared to start eating more food because we also have been ingrained that less is going to equal less weight on our body, but in reality, it did the opposite effect, right? So then trying to be able to eat is a scary thing, but I think one of the best things that I always like, it makes me so happy, is when I am putting a client through a reverse diet and they're fully embracing the process and trusting what we are, what I'm doing and what we're doing with it, and how much they cannot believe that their body looks better, they're so much stronger, and the food, the amount of food they're able to consume while maintaining this new body is like just like the best feeling to see for your clients. I'm sure the coaches can attest to that as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's awesome, especially like if the client adheres like perfectly, we can really, really make solid changes to the strength, and as a result, body composition, of course, improves over time as well.
But
So,
yeah, and I think it's important to like, we're talking about the positive adaptation, which is really important, but there's a negative adaptation as well. And the negative adaptation is that your metabolism, remember, is your survival system.
mhm.
So when you're not eating and when you're not um, building muscle, your body becomes very efficient at storing fat because it doesn't care about keeping you looking great, fitting into the summer shorts you want to, nice thick hair, great nails, good skin, um, getting, your fertility, all of it. It only cares about one thing, and that's you surviving. So it's going to downregulate to save. If you're only giving it 800 calories or even 1200 calories, and for some people, 1500 calories is way too low for where they are currently in their overall body weight or muscle mass or whatever. I mean, 1600 calories, Magda, that's a snack. So, if it doesn't really matter the number, if it's not enough for your body's going to become very efficient. And like Mal said, we have to do more cardio. Well, guess what, cardio queens? The body gets really efficient at that too. Like at first, it's like, holy crap, I burn so much energy because you burn a lot of calories when you do really hard cardio. But the next time you do it, after a couple weeks, it's like, yeah, nah, we're not going to let you burn that much. Your watch will say you burn that much. Your sweat will make you think that you did, but you didn't, because the body again is adapting and it's becoming very efficient. So when I see on a client's tracker that they did their cardio and not their weights, I'm not happy, because I'm not happy for them, because it's like, man, you're shooting yourself in the foot again. You're defaulting to the old faulty thinking that cardio, I burn more calories with great. You're burning more calories on your wearable. You're not burning more calories overall in the 24 hours. Oh, that's what I just talked about. Okay. Okay, Magda, this is the ones you want me to put in here for you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about the third, what's it called? The total daily energy expenditure. And it's essentially just the total amount of calories that you burn in a day from, of course, digestion, your exercise, your BMR. You did touch upon it, Deb, of course, in like the previous slides, but to kind of just explicitly tell everybody, just for education purposes, TDEE is, again, how many calories your body burns throughout the day, moving. And a faster metabolism will mean that you burn more calories just by living, and just surviving as well. So, we can build more muscle that will increase our BMR. So I'm not exactly sure how many more calories somebody can burn depending on how much muscle they gain, but it is a substantial amount, because as a result of that, your BMR will increase, and therefore you can eat a little bit more calories as your baseline. So that's one
Pretty
way.
sure it's
How much?
50 calories per day per pound of muscle that we put on. And
There you go.
women in the first year can put on somewhere between 3 and 7 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
If you're in a place where Mal and Magda and myself and Debra are, it's closer to like a pound a year. So there is this like really high point when you're starting your journey, and then it slows down a little bit. For a lot of you who haven't resistance trained for a long time, this is where you're like, wow, I'm eating so much food. How is this possible? You are increasing your metabolism to a point that it's never been before through the increased output and the increased intake that you're putting in. So, like, think of metabolism as a fire. And when you add fuel to the fire, it gets bigger. And now you have this bigger metabolism, where you can consume more food and still lose body fat.
Exactly, right? So affecting the TDEE long term, if you don't feed your metabolism well, or if you just keep eating and eating and eating, maybe your TDE drops because, as Deborah said, your body becomes just very efficient at consuming the calories and using it. And again, and this can go in the negative direction when you don't build muscle or you prioritize cardio at all costs. When somebody does lose weight, your metabolism will slow down just naturally, because you don't have as much substance on your body. And as a result, your body becomes very efficient, and it will conserve all the calories it needs to function your brain, for your respiration, for your digestion. Menstrual cycle will stop as well. So as a result, you have to be eating enough to build that muscle to increase the BMR so that, of course, you can, of course, increase that TDEE and preserve and that build muscle as well. And so that your hormones can be nice and happy as well. And as a result, it's going to be great because you're going to burn more calories without really trying at all, just by having more muscle.
Did we, I think we hit on this pretty good, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's just like what you said. Muscle.
Right.
So why does the body break down muscle instead of fat when you're at the point of starving yourself? Because it's really expensive tissue. So if you live in Toronto, I'm sure that you would understand that real estate at Yonge and Bloor is at an all-time premium. Go into Yorkville, it's outrageous. So if you have a small, tiny store, you're going to be paying you're going to be paying a lot of money. Well, think of that as your muscle. If you have a lot of muscle and you have a lot of money, food, then it's great because it can use it. But if you don't have a lot of muscle and you don't have money, well, you better start putting that store in the suburbs because you can't afford the rent. And that's what happens when you have a lot of muscle and you have muscle, but you're not giving it the right amount of food. The body goes, yeah, we're not going to give up fat because fat historically and it keeps us alive. The muscle is burning up all this food, the whole 800 or 1200 or 1300 calories that are coming in. And I'm saying that sarcastically, as in that's not enough food. So if we get rid of some muscle, then we're not going to need as much energy to keep this body going because again, it's going to prioritize your brain, your heart, your organs, your lungs over anything else. You're also not going to be able to build muscle very well because you're not going to be able to use the calories that you're bringing in because you are too far into a deficit.
There's a woman on this call right now watching live that I took through a very aggressive cut that led her to winning a transformation competition. But I remember during that time, she messaged me and we had her on low carbs, and she had been on low carbs for quite some time. She was like, my sweat smells like ammonia. My
Yeah.
sweat kind of smells like nail polish remover. And I was like, holy shit, thank you for telling me. You're getting a refeed immediately because that smell is correlated with her body breaking down muscle because we had been pushing so hard in this aggressive deficit. And that biofeedback was, no, no, we need to preserve the muscle mass that you have. Yes, your protein is high, but this is a sign that your body needs carbohydrates right now. So you're going to go and get some higher carbohydrates and keep me posted if this ever happens. So, ladies, a lot of you probably will never get into this position, but if your sweat smells like ammonia or nail polish remover, please let your coach know. That is very important biofeedback for us.
Mm-hmm. We've done that. Let's see here. Okay, who wants to, Mal, you want to talk about reverse dieting?
Yeah, so whether you guys have done it or not before in the past, it's like what I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. It's when we slowly increase your calories while keeping your training consistent and dropping your cardio if you're doing that. So it helps hormonally, it helps with hunger regulation. You'll have more like you'll get stronger, you'll have more energy to be able to lift heavier, and then obviously it upregulates your metabolism as well. And it teaches your like in the slide, it teaches your metabolism to trust you again. So I also, I think sometimes people think that if they like your hormones fluctuating, your metabolism can do that as well. People that have a really large dip in their metabolism where it slows down for, maybe a longer period of time, it's like a gradual thing, similar to your habits where you don't notice the weight creeping up or you don't notice your metabolism slowing down until you're like, holy shit, I didn't eat for 12 hours and I'm good, So you can always repair it, and it's just taking time to do it and do it consistently.
You know how some fitness, whatever they are, will say that the body needs to be confused and it needs things thrown at it. needs to be I need to shake things up, Deborah. Like, come on, like I need new, I need excite. No, you don't. Your body is like me on a Friday night, boring and consistent. I need to have my consistency. I need to have my structure. Your body loves that. So if you think about your fitness and how you're eating and you keep everything consistent, some people call that boring. I call that my safety net. I
Oh,
like consistency. I like knowing what's going to happen. And as a result of that, and not doing crazy competing anymore, my body is rewarding me with allowing me to eat and only have to do 25 minutes of cardio instead of the 3 hours that I used to do before a competition. And it's because I've spent the last almost 2 years, guys, of eating in a surplus and building and just allowing my body to calm down.
also, don't mistake, because I find I get this a lot from clients too when they're in a deficit. Don't mistake being in a deficit for, the period that we may put you in as we are intentionally slowing down your metabolism. And that
No,
is why you're not losing fat. We will never put you in a place. Your metabolism will naturally slow down, as Magda mentioned, but we're not ever doing things where you're staying stagnant. So, because I find a lot of the time, like, oh, the scale's not moving. I've been in a deficit, maybe that's why. But you still like a lot of the time it comes down to being consistent, and that's what it is on both ends. But just
that's
because
a really good point. A
that just
really
because
good
that's
point.
happening doesn't mean that your metabolism is shot,
No,
essentially.
guys, you have to when we do an intake with you and we talk to you and we look at your consultation form, we are not looking at you on November 27th, 2025. We're looking at your whole entire history. It's not what you've done in the last 2 years. It's not what you've done since COVID. It's what you've done since basically birth. And what were your habits? Because you've come and maybe given us 12 weeks or God bless you, 32 weeks or a year to make you feel better, look better, and work properly. So when we say to you, we got to kind of bring up some calories because you've been dieting, and then and you get a little frustrated saying, but I want to lose weight. The scale's not moving. I need to. It's the way we approach it is to go into prevention before we go into intervention. We're trying to heal and make things calm. The last thing your body needs, especially if you're a yo-yo dieter like Mal said, or you've done, I spoke to someone today, she goes, oh, I've done every diet you can imagine. And I said, okay, you're not alone. Then we're trying to take that little bit of history and make this work to where you are now and to make you feel supported and heard as well. So remember that the last thing we want is our clients to not succeed. So the final truth bomb, your metabolism, guys, is not broken. There's no such thing. If it's not working very well right now, it's because you've trained it to be in that position of down regulating. And if you take the time, you can reverse that. You can retrain it. So you want to remember your top things, or you want to lift, you want to eat, you want to sleep, you want to recover, and then put that on repeat. That's us. We don't want you living on sadness and protein bars.
One of the things that I want to just introduce the concept of is something called a body fat set point. So this is typically something that is formed around puberty, anywhere between 15 and 25 for us women, is that body fat percentage that you were then is typically what your metabolism likes to go back to. So for me, My body fat percentage used to be somewhere between like 25 and 30-ish% as a gymnast because I ate whatever the fuck I wanted and I was inflamed and had very high calories and I lived on fast food. And I was skinny fat. But yes, I had powerful muscle, but like not nearly the muscle that I have right now. Body fat percentage wise, though, if I don't track my calories and I intuitively listen or eat whatever I want, my hunger hormones will regulate again and I'll stop seeking out food and being so hungry and I'll actually feel satiated when I return to that body fat percentage. Now, if you have someone like Magda, who previously was a higher body fat percentage than she is now, eating less. But she has been so damn consistent with tracking her macros and giving her metabolism that predictability that her body fat set point has changed over time. If you are someone who did the crash diets and then you gained all the weight back, that is because your metabolism has this genetically programmed thing to be like, I want to get back there, unless you strategically reverse diet to teach it otherwise. So if you follow the same methods of crash diet, fall off track, gain it all back. Crash diet, that is just your metabolism being like, we know when we went back there, it worked. We know how to work at this body fat percentage consistently. We are a well-oiled machine. Everything is great. So you are going to have your hunger hormones like ghrelin working against you if you are in a deficit to get back to where it is. And that's where having a coach and communicating and having this structured reverse diet and the intentions, and even if you eat off plan, like that is the most important thing to tell us so that we can navigate and manipulate macros and like adjust your program so that you are able to sit with that hunger or have it not feel so intense so that you don't go balls to the walls off and start eating to a point where you are in such a big calorie surplus that you return to that body fat set point that you were previously, and then you undid all of your progress again and you failed again when it's just your metabolism trying to be like, no, we knew back there was safe. Down here, not enough calories, not safe. We want to go back there. So you have to teach it otherwise through consistency. And like Magda is the best example for that. She can eat so much food. She's shredded year round, not doing cardio because it's been years and years and years of her meticulously following like the most meticulous macro tracker that I don't know, I think all of us ever have met.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think self-diagnosed OCD a little bit. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. But
What
yeah.
did you notice over the years, Magda, of like going from where you were
Hmm.
to where you are now?
Well, a lot of time management in terms of when to eat. And like honestly, meal prepping, there's always something in the kitchen. But like physically, obviously a lot stronger, especially as I lean down, like I'm maintaining my strength, like pretty well, to be honest. Like I have hard days, like I do, but if I don't sleep well, like those are other factors. But like when I'm doing my workout and I slept well, like I'm maintaining my strength in a deficit, you know? So like it's pretty cool that
But
way.
you're in a deficit right now?
Well, this week, yeah, I have a photo shoot on Wednesday, so
Oh,
yeah. Right now, yes. But no, yeah, I'm like maintaining my strength and it's great. I don't know, like for sure like more muscle like everywhere. Like little minute details. Like I've never really had abs before until I started to intentionally train them and train them very, very hard. And I gained more muscle in my core. And my core is thicker now, but it's because I have that muscle there. But I guess my metabolism increased because I gained muscle there, where previous years I didn't, really train abs. So as a result, like maybe I didn't gain that muscle there. And so I guess just increasing the metabolism just helped my overall, in general, like my squat, my Bulgarian split squats, and as a result, it all trickled in and helps me just build a stronger body, which is always the goal. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
well, it's really interesting because I I had food poisoning last week, so my eating got
Yeah.
completely thrown off. I didn't eat for 3 days because I couldn't. My body would not allow me. Believe me, I would try.
Mm.
I my training, all my lifts have had to go down. And I was like, I don't like this. This reminds me too much of being in deep prep. I
Yeah.
want to feel strong again. I want to like, so when you are eating and you feel strong, you're that hopefully that, that mindset of like, I need to restrict goes away,
Hmm.
but, and I think it's also important to point out that not everybody is going to reverse diet, build muscle, and be able to eat 3,000 calories a day. You're just not. And it's okay. That doesn't mean you're broken or there's anything wrong with you. Um, but if you do a cut or you are losing body fat and then you decide to go out on your own, I really do think you should have a talk with your coach about this afterwards. Like, where do we go from here? Because I don't want to ruin this. I will just briefly tell you, I worked with a client a couple of years ago and we worked intensely hard where she won one of our challenges, a big one. She lost 40 pounds in 8 weeks, 60 days. And she didn't want to stay. She did 8 weeks to reverse. I go, it's not long enough. It's not long enough. Like you went from being, in the 200s and down, like it's not long enough. And she was like, no, I'm good. And unfortunately, the hunger hormones came with a vengeance and they're at you. Like they're like, eat, like you're starving. And she didn't know what to do. So she ate exactly the way she had before and reversed all the hard work that she had done. And, when you try to do it again, your metabolism remembers survival. I'm not going there again. So it's going to fight, punch, kick, bite. Hence why my very last show, I had to do 3 hours of cardio a day because this old body was going, yeah, no,
If
you're
you
not.
go from that extreme deficit to back to that body fat set point in a very short amount of time, not only are your fat cells getting bigger, but your body is also making new fat cells. And those
Mhm.
fat cells are resistant to shrinking because it is a survival mechanism there. So that's where we see these repeat dieters or the yo-yos or I've tried every diet. When those ladies come to us, it's like, now we got to spend a couple of months at maintenance slash pushing your food up and being in a surplus before we ever consider getting into a deficit. Or there's the people that like do the 60-day challenge and they reverse diet and then they're like, okay, I did the reverse diet. Can I go into a cut now? No, we need to sit here for a while because your metabolism does have that memory. You have to teach your body that it is safe again to turn on all of your functions. Like if your cycle disappears, that is one of the first signs that your metabolism is down regulating because reproduction and building the uterine lining, all of those things are so metabolically demanding. So losing your cycle, one of the first signs that your body says, we do not have enough food coming in. And then it could take months for that cycle to return afterwards. But that is another sign, especially when it becomes more regular. And you're like, okay, well, it's every 28 days or 30 or 32, whatever your cycle is. That's a sign that your metabolism is starting to feel more balanced. There's enough food coming in, and it can start to turn on all of these functions that you need to feel good day to day.
I've only ever had really one client that when she signed up with me, she said, I don't want to be doing 3 hours of cardio anymore. I don't want to be eating 900 calories. I don't want to be hungry. And she was tiny. She goes, I don't care what I have to do. If I have to gain weight, if I have to just tell me how long it's going to take. I said, will you give me a year to do a really long reverse slow and then we'll cut down and then do it again in the next year and then cut down and then do it again. So we're going to be starting our third year in January. And she said yes. And this last cut that she did, she was cutting on 1750 calories. And when she started with me, she was at 900 calories. But she's the only person that's ever said, I don't care how long it takes. I can't live my life like this anymore. And she's a young woman and I'm very proud of her because she's going to go through her like 30s and 40s and 50s with this new metabolism and this new, this new body that she's building every single time.
I actually find Deb, sorry to interrupt.
No, no, you were, I was gonna.
I have this I have some clients that I've worked with for like 2.5, 3 years now, and they're the person and their body they are now. Like they didn't know when they first signed up that they'd end up staying with me for 3 years, but it's because either some of them had a lot of body fat to lose or some metabolism, like eating 800 calories, a lot of cardio. So they were willing to spend the time reverse dieting, maintenance for a while, a surplus, dieting again. And then now when they look like those people on Instagram they aspire to be like, where they have that fit, like whatever, the athletic body or fit body. But most importantly is, to your point, dieting now, their deficit is like 1,500 calories compared to, 500, one of them when back in the day before me. So I always find that people that play the long game, especially because it doesn't always have to be with us, but at the begin, you play the long game in your journey and you turn it from like a means to an end to get to a specific spot. Doesn't mean it's not important to have goals. I think it is, but when you look at the bigger picture of not just the aesthetic part of it, but what you're doing for your body, you tend to appreciate how long it takes a lot better. Like, you appreciate your body at every stage, and, hearing my clients' blood work's improved, or, a diabetic getting shifted over to be pre-diabetic now, like getting out of that danger zone, like those things are so important. And I think we underestimate the importance when we're so fixated on the aesthetic part of this process.
Well, Amal, you're making a really good point too, because the person that you start with can go through in a matter of 3 years, finish perimenopause, go through menopause. And then now we're dealing with people that are maybe never used to be a little insulin resistant, never could handle high intensity exercise, could go on an empty stomach and work out. And they're like, why am I getting belly fat? Like, come on, like what's happening to me now? So your approach, the way you coach them and had them eating in the beginning of those like 3 years ago would obviously have to evolve because their body's different, and I don't think people take that into consideration either. Like I don't like to say to somebody, well, look how long it took to get here. You think you can reverse it in 12 weeks? I'd rather put a very positive spin on it and go, what do you do in your professional life? And if you're a stay-at-home mom, well, look at all the time and energy you're taking to raise children. That's your day-to-day role. Or if you're a librarian or a lawyer or whatever you're doing, a business owner, it took time and effort and consistency to build where you are in your outside of the fitness world. So why wouldn't you give your body and your fitness and your nutrition the same respect and time and not hold a gun to your head that it's all got to be done? And I really hope that by showing you the science tonight, you can get rid of any shame or old thoughts. And, if anybody has any questions, like anything that you've heard and you want to question it now, like I heard that if you do this, we're not here to make fun. We really just want to help. And we've all been helped by it. That's the interesting thing. We didn't come out of the womb being perfect, consistent eaters.
Nope. Does anyone have any questions?
Hi there. My name is Allison. Sorry to just come off mute, but I just had a quick question around like the emotional side of eating. So I'm new to the gym. I'm working with Magda right now, and I feel like sometimes when I, don't stick to my schedule, I deal with a lot of guilt. So would just love to hear the group's advice on how do you deal with the emotional side if you don't like stick to the plan 100%.
Allison, you work in an environment where there is constant food. I don't know if you want to touch upon like what you do, but
Sure.
it, yeah, give us a rundown.
Yeah, so I work at the Starbucks head office on the food team, specifically on the bakery business. And
Oh gosh.
yeah, it's like bakery and breakfast, and a big part of my job. Like I work in product development, so you like try different cake pop flavors, and they give you a spit bag, but you literally have like food in your mouth that tastes delicious, but then you need to kind of like I'm trying to like manage my health, obviously. So I think it stirs up a lot, and so yeah, that's kind of some context I would share too.
Right. So my one tip for sure, like I've mentioned before, is to absolutely have a meal before you go into these meetings. And like if you genuinely enjoy the cake pop or the tiramisu or whatever it is that they're serving, there's really nothing wrong per se with like having 1 to 2 bites and understanding that, okay, I had it, move on. You know what I mean? And then if this thing that you're having is truly terrible, sure, you can spit it out if that's what you want to do, right? But I do think it'll take some time for sure to adjust because I know like macro checking is like so hard to kind of quantify what you did have, what you didn't, and honestly, estimation is better than logging nothing, right? So I log like maybe half a cake pop that you had, and then also just use that as information as well. As in, like, how did that make me feel? Like, did I feel good digestion wise? Am I having some heartburn issues? Like, in the long run, like, am I breaking out? So eventually I don't know if you have to try these foods, but maybe you can sit one out. I'm not sure if that's an option for you and your team, but that would be my advice as well.
Allison, with
Oh,
the
sorry.
gym, I would tell you that because I tell my clients this, if you have a workout scheduled and you have the time to do it, but you're sort of thinking, I don't really feel like it, you do it anyways. You show up and you do it. So that those moments, those times that are going to come up where you're like, Shh, I can't get to the gym today. You don't beat yourself up. You go, well, I'm really proud of myself that I stuck through it the day before yesterday because I didn't want to do it, but I showed up anyways. So that there's no point in feeling guilty and beating yourself up. That door is closed. You missed a workout. Okay. One workout missed is not going to destroy you, just like doing one workout's not going to change you. It's the consistency over time. And if you're following along 80%, just think that's 80% better than what you were doing before you started with us. All these other little habits that you're doing on a daily basis. So try hard to not put yourself through that mental,
I I
hardship.
also
Can
I
you
also like to tell, oh, sorry, go ahead, Magda.
No, I just was saying, you just got sick, you just got over it, right? So, again, it'll take a little bit of time for you to get in the swing of things again and really find like your rhythm as well. Sorry, Mel. Okay.
No, I was just gonna say I like to ask, I even ask myself this, but I like to tell my clients, who struggle sometimes with that same thing is when you go to like before you go to bed, like reflecting on your day, do I have any regrets about decisions I made through the day? Like, could I have done more? If you're giving 100% and you only have 20% to give of that day, if you can give 100% of that 20%, then that's what you were able to give. And I think there's a like it's important to be tough with yourself and, discipline because especially at the beginning, you're forming new habits and new routine, but some days you're not going to be able to do everything and you're not going to have 100% because you're a human who works and, trying to do it all, especially us as women, we do a lot. So just being like, did I give what I had today? And if you did, then that's what you did today. Tomorrow, like, can I be better? Can I be 1% better the next day? How can I set myself up that I don't have this kind of guilt or feeling? But if you went to bed and you're like, man, I should have went to the gym, then you use that as a learning opportunity to apply to the next day.
I want to go back to the whole like Starbucks tasting stuff because the cake pops from Starbucks are delicious. And like Starbucks' job is to make food highly palatable. So people are like, "Ooh, yeah, I want to order that again." And if it is part of your job for you to be like, "Okay, I have to have bites of this," just be mindful of what is going to happen once that food is in your body, or even just getting a taste of it. So when we consume sugar, even if it doesn't necessarily taste like the sweetest thing. Let's say it's one of those like savory bistro things for lunch, but there's a little bit of added sugar in it because that sugar is the thing that drives us to keep coming back to it. When the sugar enters our digestive tract, that is going to light up these cells in our small intestine called our neuropod cells. That's what they're called. And neuropod cells detect three things. They can't differentiate between what it is, but they can detect sugar, amino acids, or essential fatty acids. So when your body gets this taste of the sugar, it goes, ooh, we want more of that. So if you're having this bite and you're having the lunch, just keep in mind that later in the day, those sugar cravings might pop up, and mentally prepare yourself for it so that if you are going through your lunch or your dinner and you're like, oh, why am I craving this stuff? Oh, it's because I had this added sugar in my meals earlier. The way that you can offset this is introducing, when those cravings pop up, either your omega-3 fish oil supplement, when you're consuming that, have that or an extra serving of that, or creatine or L-glutamine as a powder, or just protein, because those are the things that are going to hit those neuropod cells as well and be like, cool, we got the essential nutrients that we need to dampen that intensity of those feelings so that you can stay more on plan with your nutrition for the rest of the day.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much, everyone.
Happy to help. Anyone else have questions? No? All right. Well, we are coming up to the hour mark. So thank you for joining us, ladies. I hope you understood a little bit more about the internal metabolism and what it means, and that you are not broken, and things that you have done in the past do not determine your forever moving forward. We are going to be back in 2 weeks' time. So Deb, Mal, Rima, and myself will be having a very open and heartfelt and honest conversation about our past and trauma that we have experienced. So if you are in a emotionally capable spot of hearing other people's stories, we invite you to join us then. The information will be sent out as it was today. But thank you for joining us tonight, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you,